There is perhaps no greater symbol of the Empire's dominance, no greater argument for the futility of defiance, than the colossal flagship of its mighty fleet, the Tarkin Doctrine epitomized, the Executor-class Super Star Destroyer. Larger by a factor of 10 than most Imperial warships, and wielding the firepower of an entire fleet of Star Destroyers, a single Executor-class was more than capable of engaging entire hostile battle groups and conducting full-scale planetary invasions without reinforcements. Even without engaging in combat, the mere terrifying presence of the Executor class has been known to inspire the immediate retreat or surrender of hostile forces. And as a means of maintaining order and security through fear, the ship was second only to the Death Star. 19,000 meters in length and approximately 4,000 meters across, the Executor class was the largest starship in the galaxy at the time of its commissioning, and one of the largest in recorded history. Over 280,000 officers, gunners and crewmen served aboard each vessel, with personnel and cargo being ferried throughout its vast interior by railjet carriages and turbolifts. The Executor class was designed by the brilliant Lyra Wessex of Kuat Drive Yards, who had previously designed the extremely successful Venator and Imperial class Star Destroyers. Wessex had intended for the Executor to represent a quantum surge in starship design, exceeding all of KDY's previous works. The Executor class carried an enormous array of weaponry, in excess of most Imperial fleets. Included in this arsenal were 2,000 turbo-laser cannons, supplemented by a further 2,000 heavy turbo-laser cannons. The ship also boasted 250 ion cannons, 250 concussion missile batteries, and a huge array of point defense weapons. The Executor class was also capable of carrying thousands of TIE series starfighters, as well as 5 full legions of stormtroopers, amounting to 38,000 troops. In order to support this massive infantry force during planetary invasions, the vessel also carried 30 AT-ATs and 40 AT-STs, as well as 2 prefabricated garrison bases and 200 assault shuttles. The command tower of the Executor class was almost twice as wide as the length of a CR-90 Corellian corvette, and required its own dedicated shield generators and life support system. The tower played host to the bridge, officers' quarters, mess halls, starfighter coordination centers, and HoloNet communication suites. The command tower's shaft was lined with massive heatsink panels and radiators, intended to dissipate the heat built up by the ship's gargantuan hypermatter reactors. These reactors provided the massive amounts of energy needed to power the vessel's 13 engines, each the size of a small starship in their own right. At least one Executor-class vessel, the Terror, was known to have been outfitted with a Stygium crystal-fueled cloaking device, allowing the ship to become fully invisible to both sensors and the naked eye. This feature increased the already massive monetary cost of constructing an Executor class to a level even the Galactic Empire could not reasonably sustain. For this reason, the Terror remained the only Super Star Destroyer ever to be outfitted with cloaking technology, and the ship was assigned as a carrier for the Empire's wing of prototype TIE Phantoms until its destruction by the Rebel Alliance in 3 ABY. Construction of the first Executor-class vessels began on the order of Emperor Palpatine in 3 BBY. Initially, 2 of the vessels were built simultaneously. The Executor, the first of the class, was constructed at Fondor shipyards, while her sister ship, the Lusankya, was assembled at Kuat Drive Yards. The Executor would go on to become easily the most well-known ship of its class, striking fear into the galaxy as the personal flagship of the Sith Lord Darth Vader. Though the Empire built several more Executor-class vessels across the course of the Galactic Civil War, Vader's flagship was always the most famous. At the head of the huge battle group known as Death Squadron, the Executor was involved in several crucial engagements with the Rebel Alliance across the course of the Galactic Civil War, including the blockade of Yavin and the Battle of Hoth. The Executor would finally meet its end in the pivotal battle over Endor in 4 ABY, having been expressly ordered to remain at station keeping outside of the main engagement zone, and with its fighter complement out of position engaging Alliance forces. The Executor was left vulnerable to Rebel starfighter attacks and suffered damage to one of its command tower's sensor domes, overloading the bridge deflector shields. In a moment of tremendous luck for the Alliance, the brief loss of shielding on the Executor's bridge coincided with Alliance A-Wing pilot Arvel Crinid suffering serious damage to his craft and electing to sacrifice his life by ramming the Executor's bridge. The small fighter penetrated the Super Star Destroyer's command deck and exploded, instantly killing Admiral Firmus Peart and his entire command staff. With control completely lost in the middle of a battle maneuver, the mighty Executor slammed into the surface of the second Death Star and was completely obliterated. Though the loss of the Executor at Endor would be a serious blow to the Imperial remnant in the years following the battle, other Executor-class vessels such as the Lusankya, Reaper, Intimidator, and Night Hammer would go on to serve in several conflicts years after the Galactic Civil War. Some in service to the Imperial remnant, some at the command of rogue Imperial warlords, and some even seized by the New Republic to serve in their growing Starfleet. Regardless of their masters, however, the terrifying presence of the Executor was never diminished, and the massive vessels continued to be one of the most feared sights in the galaxy, even decades after the Emperor's death. Thank you for watching Spacedock. Please remember to like, subscribe and share for more science fiction spacecraft summaries, and if there's a particular spacecraft you'd like to see looked at, let me know in the comments below and I'll get right on it.